Okay, we will call the Norfolk School Committee meeting for August 23rd, 2022 to order. We'll begin our meeting as we do each meeting by reading the mission statement of the Norfolk Public Schools. The Norfolk Public Schools offer a safe, joyful, and challenging learning environment that meets the needs of our diverse students. Through school, family, and community partnerships, we provide an education that inspires lifelong learners and cultivates caring and productive citizens of our ever-changing world. Roll call, please, and I think we're doing this live and on Zoom, so we'll begin with the people in the room.
Victoria Saldana.
Barry Necto.
Medora Champagne, and now we go to Zoom.
Ingrid O'Larry.
Lisa Sheldon.
Okay. Roll call complete. Moving on, our first order of business would be public comment. When any member of the public can address the committee with respect to anything that's within its purview. I don't think we have anyone in the audience here interested in public comment. Adrian, I don't think I see anybody in the Zoom who may be. No. Okay. Not a huge surprise. All right. Moving on. To correspondence. I don't believe we have any correspondence this evening to cover, so we are flying through our agenda. On to the third item of the evening, which is one of my both favorite and least favorite things to do, which are retirement recognitions. I dislike seeing people leave the school district, but it's always wonderful to celebrate the folks that have spent their professional careers here with us in Norfolk. So thrilled to be discussing this evening two individuals who have spent, I think, 19 and 23 years, respectively, teaching in the Norfolk Public Schools, Sharon Griffin and Kathy O'Shea. So as she is the one who has worked most closely with them over that past time frame, I'm going to invite Linda Balfour up to, give us an overview of their contributions to our school community. If you want to, yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here at a meeting in person. I haven't been in an in-person meeting for a while, and it's especially a pleasure to be here to honor the two people that you spoke of. Our HOD, long-term kindergarten people, Kathy O'Shea and Sharon Griffin. So Sharon Griffin has been a teacher in the Norfolk Public Schools for over 19 years, as Medora said. When she came to the H. Olive Day School, she found a home in kindergarten after being a substitute for us for a while. Over the years, she's been a wonderful and dedicated teacher and friend to everyone. Her dedication to teaching her students has been amazing. Every morning, you would hear her say good morning to every single student as they walked into her room with a big smile on her face. Mrs. Griffin's love and enthusiasm for teaching was always evident in the classroom. Whether she was modeling for her students a new super reader power, life story and workshop, Mrs. Griffin's goal was that all of her students would love school and become lifelong learners just like she is. We know that she achieved that goal. She has positively impacted the lives of hundreds of students throughout the past 19 years. Sharon is a very caring and kind teacher, but she also is a very kind and caring coworker and friend. She always remembered special occasions for students and colleagues. That is because of not only her kindness and generosity, but also her notable organizational skills. She kept lists for everything. In retirement, we hope that Sharon enjoys years of good times with her family and friends, doing what she loves, reading, relaxing on her patio, taking trips to Onset, watching her son's basketball games, and enjoying her daughter's home-cooked meals. And recently, Sharon added a special new role when she became a grandmother. You wouldn't believe she's old enough to be a grandmother, would you? We know she will cherish her time with her new grandson, aptly named Griffin. Mrs. Griffin will be greatly missed by her family at the H. Olive Day School. We'll miss her love of teaching, her generosity, and her contagious smile. Thank you, Sharon. We wish you many wonderful years of retirement. Thank you for all you've done. Okay, and then there's Mrs. Kathy O'Shea. When people in Norfolk think of kindergarten at the H. Olive Day School, I know that they think of Kathy O'Shea. And that's because she is the benevolent matriarch of kindergarten and has been for quite some time. 23 years as a kindergarten teacher and a total of 29 years with the Norfolk schools have earned her that title. During her 2+ decades of teaching, she has established herself as the resident expert in all things kinder. Kathy has always been there to support her kindergarten team with a listening ear and sage advice. Her ability to go with the flow, to adapt to change, and to continually evolve as an early childhood educator have been the foundation of her success and the hallmarks of her distinguished career. She's consistently focused on providing a child-centered and developmental approach to teaching young children. Always an advocate for the rights of young children to play and enjoy being a child, she lives by the saying that childhood is a journey, not a race. She found joy in each day by truly connecting with her students and helping them become lifelong, curious, and creative learners. And that same joy could be seen in her students. Kathy's favorite song is We're All a Family Under One Sky, a song that puts into words the way Mrs. O'Shea ensured that each child in her class felt included, empowered, and valued as a member of that classroom community. If students, parents, or colleagues were asked, they would use the words funny, caring, and supportive to describe Kathy. You only had to walk into her classroom to see and hear all of those adjectives in action. Her HOD school family will miss seeing Mrs. O'Shea every day and hearing the lilt of Irish laughter. After all, she is. We are happy that she'll have time to spend with her loving home family, her husband, her Dr. Danny, and her daughter Carrie, and that she'll have time to go to Florida and New Hampshire, enjoy spontaneous drives to enjoy a lobster roll and swim and walk wherever she would like. Thank you, Mrs. Light to HOD. Your legacy and laughter will live on. We will miss you. Yep, it's the end of an era in kindergarten.
And I think
Truly.
Ingrid had a few comments too. You wanna?
Yes, I did just want to say a special thank you to both Sharon and to Kathy for their many, many years of dedicated service to the Norfolk Public Schools. And I think, as Linda said, kindergarten is a really special place for many, many of our children. It's the first time they've walked through school doors and become part of a classroom and a community outside of their family. And I think these two ladies brilliantly created classroom environments that were warm, supportive, welcoming, and really encourage them to start their educational journeys on the right. Their joy of teaching, joy of learning, and the kind of supportive colleagues that they are will be sincerely missed next year. So we wish you both the very, very best as you start this new journey.
Congratulations.
And if we could ask you up, we have a few parting gifts for you as well.
Oh, I've always wanted this.
Thank you.
We'll see how you do.
This is awesome. Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. Words. I don't know how to. You gotta get out of town.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So sadly, I don't think the rest of our agenda is going to be that moving. You're all welcome to duck out early if you like.
Okay, thank you.
Just avoid the rain.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'll miss Norfolk. I'll miss you all.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
I'll be around. Much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. This was very nice. This was very special to do this. Thank you.
I always say, what a great place to work, that's
Oh,
so hard to leave.
love it.
Thank you so much.
You know?
It's been my dream job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful town.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Joy, thank you.
I know.
Yeah.
Take care. Enjoy the wedding show.
Thank you both.
Bye.
Okay, as I said, switching gears to a drier topic probably. I think our next agenda item is actually moving on to Ingrid's portion of the evening, the Superintendent's Report. I think we're gonna move a couple of agenda items around those, so Ingrid, you wanna take it
Sure,
away?
yes. So if the committee is okay with it, we do, per policy, anytime we have a staff member or anybody interested in conducting research that would involve students or staff, they need to bring their research proposal to the school committee. We have Mary Ellen Knappman here tonight, who is an occupational therapist at the Freeman Kennedy School. And because she's a guest, I would ask if the committee is willing, we let her go first so she can get home, and then we'll go on with the
Absolutely.
business agenda. Is that all right with everybody?
Yep.
All right, great. So I will turn it over to Mary Ellen Knappman, who is currently enrolled in a doctoral program. And she has a program that she would like to engage in to complete her doctoral requirements. So I'll turn it over to Mary Ellen.
I think she's just setting up
Probably
a
come up.
presentation. She'll, when she gets a little text, all set. Mary Ellen needs the ability to share a screen, Ingrid. I think you're the master of the Zoom. I don't know if it's that capability or not. She may need to be made a co-host.
Let me see. Maybe Andrew, can you put in the meeting chat how I can give her that?
Can you hear me? This
Yeah.
is Andrew. I'm in the back. Click the three dots in the corner of her name. Or no, I guess that's
Okay,
not it.
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
And make co-host?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Andrew, do you guys need a few minutes? Should we just go on to another agenda item and come back?
I don't know what to do, you guys.
I wonder if she should share the
presentation.
Yeah, we're gonna,
She's going to email it to Ingrid.
Yeah,
move
all we have
on,
to
we
do is
can
just
Share it. 'cause
See, look at that.
figure this out.
I did make you a co-host.
We can't, the problem is, Zoom's not letting her share her slideshow for whatever reason.
So she's going to email it to you, Ingrid, so that you can just share it, if that seems like it's something that could work, since you're the host.
Yeah, I can try that, yep. Gotta get to email.
And while we wait, Barry will
Share.
perform stand-up comedy.
Gotta think about the juggling things.
I think the comedy portion of the
Close
show
up
is
magic.
comedy portion of the show is already going on.
Did you receive it? She
Yeah,
says she
I'm
sent
just
it.
trying to, I'm
Okay.
gonna try to share it now, I just gotta.
There we go.
All right, now I can't see you guys, but I can see your presentation, so
Okay,
you guys
perfect.
seeing it okay? We'll have Mariana go ahead. And I can do it as a slideshow.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Lardy. And good evening, everybody. And for those that don't know me, my name is Mary Ellen Nathman. I'm the one of the occupational therapists for the district. And I'm currently enrolled at Mount Mary University in the doctoral program for occupational therapy. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity to present my doctoral plan for your consideration. My doctoral plan is focused on yoga. And the research that I've done so far shows that there's many, many benefits to yoga for children. And some of them are increases in attention, self-regulation, social emotional growth, decreased cortisol levels, which means decreased stress in children, improved balance, strength, and flexibility. And the purpose of my project would be to use the yoga as an intervention for the children. And I would be focused on the children that are currently on my caseload. And what I'd be focusing on is to increase their core strength, their functional posture, and their time on task during seat work. Students will complete yoga exercises for 6 weeks, 3 times a week for 10 minutes per lesson. And that would occur during OT time or physical education class or during the classroom. And the student selection would involve students that are currently on my caseload at the Freeman Kennedy School and students that have been identified as having decreased postural control through their occupational therapy evaluation. And one of the selection criteria would be students would have to have the ability to follow directions in order to participate. And I'd like to collaborate with the physical education teachers and Mrs. Kelly Pereira and Mr. Kevin Thomas. The physical education teachers have agreed to collaborate if the doctoral plan is approved. And what that would mean is I would instruct the whole class during phys ed class with a 10-minute yoga lesson. I would visit the classrooms and instruct the whole class yoga lesson for 10 minutes if I was in a classroom. And the classes that are selected will be classes that have students that are already participating in my doctoral plan. And the time frame would be mid-September through October, and will continue for 6 weeks. And I'll be inviting 6 students that are on my current caseload to participate. And for data collection, I would need to collect student data that would become part of my doctoral project, and it would include a pre-test and a post-test on postural control positions. So that's something I would assess again in the beginning and then at the end of the yoga intervention. There'd be weekly functional posture observations that would be conducted either by the teacher, the paraprofessional, or myself. Another form that would be required would be the OT Yoga Classroom Behavior Questionnaire, and that would be completed by the teacher, again, pre-test and then post-test. The yoga time on task form for week 1 and week 6 would be done by myself. The OT yoga goal attainment scaling form would be done in collaboration with the teacher regarding the students' goals, and would also be a way for me to record their postural control. And there will be an OT yoga student questionnaire will be completed by the students, and a final OT yoga program survey will be completed by teachers and the physical education teachers. In preparation for the yoga intervention, I would need to meet with the teachers and the paraprofessionals regarding the functional posture, and also to discuss the forms with them. Meetings with teachers to collaborate with the goals, and meetings with Mrs. Kelly Pereira and Mr. Kevin Thomas regarding the yoga program. Participation is voluntary, and I would be requesting parental or guardian consent for the children. There would also be a consent form for the teacher and the. My next steps would be, after my doctoral project is over, I would like to offer the classroom teachers the opportunity to have me visit their classrooms for whole class yoga lessons. My yoga intervention project was approved by the Mount Mary University Internal Review Board on August 4th of this year. Again, thank you for your time and for your consideration. Does anybody have any questions?
Am I correct in assuming that the yoga interventions are in addition to and not in place of OT interventions these students are already getting?
The children that are on my caseload would that it's appropriate for, if they were participating in the doctoral plan, they would receive 10 minutes of yoga during their OT time. So if they have a 30-minute slot of OT, their 10 minutes would be yoga, the yoga intervention.
And the other 20 would be dedicated to their traditional services.
Right, to their other areas.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyone else?
I just have a quick question. Once the study is complete and you've analyzed all the data, will that information be made public, or will I'm intrigued by this, which is why I asked. Will that information be made public, or are you able to share that? Obviously, not student information, but just the outcomes of it.
I think I'll be able to share that. Yes. Okay. The outcome I'd be able to share. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
In the past, we've asked any staff members who are engaging in research to present a summary at completion to the school committee who approved the research. And again, as Mary Ellen said, this would be, parents would have a chance to review the project, and participation would be completely voluntary. Again, I think attached to your packet are all of the consent forms that Mary Ellen has developed. Does anyone else have any other further questions?
I don't have any questions. It seems like it's been pretty well researched and thought out, so I'm interested to see how it goes for you. I think it'll be great.
Thank you.
For policy, we do need a motion and a vote to approve this research proposal as it's been presented to you tonight.
Could I have a motion from someone in our small band of attendees this evening?
I move to approve the research proposal.
Second.
All right. All those in any further discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. I don't think I need to hit the gavel for that, but thank you very much for coming and presenting to us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary Ellen.
Thanks, Mary Ellen, for joining us.
Have a good night.
All right, so we are on to the business portion of the meeting tonight. The first item in your packet, again, for school committee policy, the school committee every year has to approve the family handbook. You have copies in your packets. The handbook, all of the content is complete. We're still working on fine tuning the page numbers and hyperlinks, but the content is all correct. It is very similar to last year.
Oh, Ingrid, we just lost you.
Time out. You've gone muted. Ingrid, we can't hear you. Okay.
About our school resource officer, which is part of our new memo agreement with the Norfolk Police. So information about the school resource officer is included in that, as well as how parents, if anybody has a concern or complaint, how they would file that is included in the handbook. Other than that, not major changes, updates to various sections. We've cleaned up some formatting, and we're looking for the school committee to vote to approve the 22-23 handbook.
So I apologize. You actually were muted for the first portion of what you were discussing about. I think it happened technically on our end. Volume up and inadvertently muted you. So if we first 2 minutes again.
But as it would appear. Every year we update any policies that were revised by the school committee during the course of the year. Obviously, we update all of the staff information, contact information, new school committee members, so you can get emails from the public. All of that has been updated. The one other thing that we added this year was a section about our school resource officer. Our current memo agreement with the Norfolk Police requires that we put in the handbook information about what the role of the school resource officer is, as well as how people can share complaints or concerns. So that has been added to the handbook as well. Other than that, they're just minor revisions, formatting, language, things like that. So we are looking for a motion from the committee to approve the new handbook. And again, I reviewed it.
So why don't we get the motion on the table, and then if there are questions or concerns, we can address those in discussion. So I don't know which one of you feels like it's their
To approve the new handbook.
All right.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing.
No, very
Pretty straightforward document. So.
Yeah.
Hearing
And it did,
none.
as you said, Ingrid, it didn't change drastically from previous version, so.
Okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes.
Great. Next, I just wanted to give the committee an update of where we are as far as opening a school. I think at this point, we're really in great shape. It was definitely a very busy summer all across the district. We have programs running all summer long. Some of our own programs that have been running at the HL Day are summer tutoring programs, as well as our early childhood programs through special education. We've also had the Norfolk Rec Department running many of their summer camps out at the Freeman Kennedy. Our administrators, obviously, they're busy interviewing, hiring, and filling vacancies. We have had a lot of teachers in. If you, we were going to do the building tour today. I think we're going to reschedule that, but you'll see people have been in setting up their classrooms, getting materials ready so that the schools are inviting. Facility staff did a fantastic job cleaning. The buildings look great. Our secretaries have been very busy enrolling new students. We had slightly less new enrollment this summer than we had last year, but the numbers are still continuing to grow, so we're watching that. At this time, all of our classroom teaching positions have been filled. So I'm on a listserv with other superintendents, and people are really struggling. So I feel good that we have all of our classroom teaching positions filled. We do have a few vacancies we're still working on. We have a 0.5 speech and language therapist. That was the new position that we added in the budget process last spring for the HL of Day. We have been advertising and recruiting aggressively, but we do not have a candidate for that position at this time. We're continuing to advertise and explore other possible options for filling that vacancy, but that's still in progress. We had a very late summer resignation, and so we have an opening for a math specialist full-time at the HL of Day. We also have some paraprofessional positions open district-wide. That is pretty typical. We have a lot of licensed certified teachers that are in paraprofessional positions and sometimes leave for a classroom vacancy, but that is where we typically see some turnover. So we have several special and paraprofessional openings that we are still interviewing for. Food service assistants in the kitchen, we are still interviewing for, and I believe SAC is also looking for some assistance at this time. The technology team, Trish Kelly came, I think, in the June meeting to update you on the status of 2 major capital projects. They've worked really hard this summer and have those completed. So the new phone system's been installed and is up and running at both Freeman and we did have some glitches, some technical glitches with the new system originally, where it was dropping calls, but that has since been resolved. So we are up and running well. They also did upgrade the wiring at the HL Day to improve that speed there to catch So they tech's in great shape. All of our equipment's been inventoried, repaired, cleaned, is ready to redistribute. And all of our emergency plans were also updated, and all of our equipment is tested. All of our panic buttons, things like that, are tested over the summer. So we're in great shape from that perspective. As I mentioned, we have enrolled several new students this summer. We have 13 new students at the Freeman Kennedy and 11 new students at the H. Olive Day. It's similar to past trends, although last year we really had a spike. We had 18 and 23 last year, so we're a little down from last year, but pretty steady with what we've seen in the past. We continue to closely monitor the enrollment, and as you know, we are in the process of securing bids for a feasibility study for potential expansion at the Freeman Kennedy. Mr. Nectow is here with us tonight and is going to update you that on the building project status shortly. We had an administrative retreat that was held yesterday and today. Vicki Saldana did a fabulous job. She led the day yesterday, looking at our response to intervention and MTSS program. We also had an outside speaker come in today, and we joined with the administrative staff from Rentham and Plainville for a leadership development workshop, really focusing on rebuilding culture and engagement post-pandemic. That was a big success. Tomorrow is the new staff orientation. We have Roxanne Bordeaux, our HR director, and Vicki will be doing some work with staff in the afternoon, safety training, making sure everybody is aware of all of our emergency protocols during the afternoon training, orienting them to the district. The technology team meets with new staff, sets them up with equipment, access to keys and everything like that. So that's all set for tomorrow. And then our teaching staff have time in the afternoon with their mentor teachers to plan for the opening week of school. Our opening day for staff is Monday the 29th. We are beginning the day again with opening comments and introductions of new staff at 8 o'clock, and we're going to do that at the King Philip Middle School in Norfolk. It is air conditioned, which is a real bonus when we have everybody together. And we're using the auditorium, so we have comfortable seating for that. We have a keynote speaker, Dr. John Doria, coming, who is also going to talk about strengthening educator and student resiliency, engagement, and supporting learning when faced with unexpected circumstances. All of our committee is always invited to join us for our first day, opening day, and if anybody wishes to make comments, let me know, and I'll put you on the agenda for welcoming the teachers back. So at this point, I think we're in great shape. Bus routes, we sent a Wednesday's Words letter out last week with all of the bus routes. They've been published, information for parents, and I think we are ready and excited to welcome our kids back next on the 30th. So happy to take any questions people might have about opening of schools.
I had a quick question just about, I know we always watch the enrollment really closely. The new students entering the district, and my focus is mostly on the HOD just because I know that's where we have less than no space at this point. The 13 new students coming into HOD, are they fairly evenly distributed, or did one grade get hit particularly hard with, additional folks?
They're fairly evenly distributed, and it's 11 entering H. Olive Day, and it's across the grade level, so it bumps the class size up slightly, but we aren't in a position where we're adding classrooms. You're correct in saying we are out of space at H. Olive Day, and as we talked about in the spring, we had to convert the music classroom to a regular general education classroom this year, and music is going to be traveling from class to class. So we've been working, Linda Balfour has been working really hard with Christy Buffoon, the assistant principal there, on schedules, and we've had to restructure that slightly so that the music teacher has a little bit more time between classes to travel with equipment.
And so that, now I may be going down a rabbit hole. This will be my last question on it. With the music traveling from classroom to classroom, normally that would be time when those classroom teachers would have time without students in the room. Are those classroom teachers allowed to leave and use that for prep time elsewhere? Is there space for them to be doing prep elsewhere? Is the follow-up question?
We still have the teacher's room, but there isn't an ideal space in the building. Once the music teacher comes, to find an alternate space in the building to work. The conference room at H. Olive Day is sometimes open. Linda's done a nice job of accommodating that. The teacher's room, obviously outside of lunchtime, is open. And sometimes a colleague will have a special and teacher will go next door to their colleague's classroom.
Okay.
Certainly not ideal.
Right.
but
I
we-
mean, I think sometimes we forget, big picture, people say, okay, we lose the music room, that's not ideal, obviously, but I think that there are some trickle-down impacts of that as well that impact education, not just with respect to the music program, right? Like what's being
Right.
delivered
Absolutely.
and how it can be delivered. So, thank you for clarifying. Those are my only questions.
Anyone else? Questions?
With the open positions, do we still have the capability to provide the services to those who need them for the time being? Maybe just groups are a little bit larger until you find a speech pathologist, or is there
That's
a
what we're
plan?
working
for-
on.
Okay.
It is looking at caseload. So we do have several speech therapists already in the district. We were adding this position knowing we have many new kids coming in, especially to our global developmental delays program that often have significant language services. So yes, in the interim, the speech and language current therapists will have to share the caseload. And we are looking at creative solutions for that. Anna was meeting with them as a team to see what else we might be able to come up with. Thanks. Anything else on opening of school?
Just thank you for the thorough job, as always. It can't be an easy feat, so thank you to you and the entire administration.
Yeah, our administrator, I have to give credit to Vicki, Adrienne, Trish Kelly, Roxanne, Barbara. Our office staff has worked incredibly hard. I've had to be remote for part of the summer, so they've done an outstanding job keeping things running and collaborating and making sure no balls were dropped and that we were really well prepared. So, and also Barry has been a godsend through all of this and helping, in the midst of all the chaos, we have the auditors in that come to do the annual financial audit, and he's been able to roll with all of that and make sure that we're in great financial shape as well. So, and speaking of Barry, I'm going to turn it over to him to do the feasibility study update. So, Barry, you're up.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind words. So I wanted to update the committee on the feasibility study. And as you know, we were appropriated funds at town meeting to do a feasibility study on expanding the Freeman Kennedy. So the process follows a state set of guidelines, and the first phase of the process is to issue a request for qualifications. So that's where we put into the marketplace what we're looking for, and we get back proposals from qualified firms, and then we go through a review process. And I'm just going to walk you through the steps of the process that remain. First, the good news is we've had a tremendous amount of interest in the feasibility study. Over 40 companies have picked up the document, which is great. We had a walkthrough a week or so ago, and 5 companies came to the walkthrough. The walkthrough isn't mandatory. So what's going to happen next? Well, the proposals are due on September 9th. And then beginning the following week, the selection committee will begin the proposals and going through a ranking process, which is highlighted in the RFQ. That's going to take some time. We won't get 40 proposals. It would be great if we got a half a dozen to a dozen. And it's a lot of work to go through all of them and compare and contrast the qualifications of each firm. So we'll do that beginning the week of the 12th. The selection committee will meet on the 19th or approximately the 19th to review all of our opinions of the firms and to come up with a short list of respondents, so narrow down the group. Then we'll bring those that we narrow the group down to in for interviews beginning September 20th or 21st. We have the interviews, the selection committee to the school committee for their vote, which should take place at the October school committee meeting, October 11th, I believe it's scheduled for. So that's roughly the key steps and key dates that are left in the process. So we're in really good shape, and as I said, the hope is that we get a good number of proposals so that we can make a really good choice with a firm that's really qualified. Thanks.
Jerry, with that, at our May reorganization meeting, the school committee voted to elect 2 people to be on the selection and building committee. I believe that's Medora and was it Shannon? Or, was it Sarah? I'm not sure who the second member of that committee was. I believe it was Sarah.
I think it was Sarah.
I think so too.
Okay, Shannon doesn't seem to think it was Shannon, so I'm gonna.
No, I'm happy to. I'm happy to. I do think, I don't want to step on Sarah's toes.
I think it was Sarah.
Oh,
We can look back at
the selection committee reviewing the proposals would be Barry, myself, Matt Hafner, Vicky Saldana, and the 2 members of the committee. Am I missing anyone, Barry, on that?
Nope.
So we should have a recommendation from the full committee in October, and then we can get that process underway.
Awesome. I'm so glad that there's been so much interest.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
fantastic.
nice. It's very,
We
very
made the
positive.
decision to delay the deadline into September because we were concerned about bidding it during the summer. That was the number of companies and people away on vacations, that it would limit our interest.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I think that was wise.
I think that was a good choice because we definitely have more people that have responded given the later deadline.
Great.
Great. The next thing we have on the agenda, again, is per state regulation, the school committee is responsible for appointing school nurses, school physicians, business manager, and special ed director. So as we talked about in June, Ann Hurley was retiring. She has agreed to come back 2 days a week to help train a new nurse and to work throughout this year. So you approved her contract for a .4 position as a school nurse in June, and the other 2 positions were open. Barbara Giacomo also had resigned for other reasons. So we have been interviewing all summer. It is like, this is a tough position to fill. The number of schools looking for nurses is excessive, but we have 2 great candidates. So I have 2 candidates to recommend to you tonight. The first is Ms. Julia Lavoie. She is coming with significant clinical background experience. She's been a registered staff nurse for Mass General Hospital with additional clinical training and experience at Boston Children's Hospital and Brigham and Women's, Tufts, Beth Israel, and Faulkner as well. For the past 2 years, she's also worked as a substitute school nurse in Norton and in the Easton school districts. So I am recommending we appoint Ms. Julia Lavoie full-time to the nursing position at the Freeman Kennedy. I think she's going to be a great addition to our staff. We also am recommending Ms. Kathy Steck, who has been a substitute nurse for the Norfolk Public Schools for a couple of years now. She's worked frequently at the H. Olive Day. I'm recommending we appoint her to the .6 position at H. Olive Day, and that is pending DESE licensure. So she is a fully registered certified nurse, but she doesn't have the state licensure. So that's going to be approved, but until she actually has it approved, I'm recommending the committee appoint her contingent on the DESE licensure for as a school nurse. The contract for Julia is attached to your packet so you can see it. We are waiting for to enter negotiations to finalize the contract with Kathy until we've received her certification and licensure approval. So I am happy to take any questions, but again, I'm asking the committee to vote to appoint Julia Lavoie and Kathy Steck as school nurses, Kathy pending licensure.
Okay, so looking at motion school nurse appointments as stated.
So moved.
There you go.
A second.
It's in your line, Medora.
Any further discussion? I'm just thrilled that you found a full-time nurse, given the shortage right now, so that's fantastic. All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously.
Great. Next is just an update for the school committee on COVID testing. I sent you an email with some information from the state out last week. So the Mass Department of Education and the state has discontinued the state COVID testing program. So they are not offering that any longer. And as a result, we will no longer be providing symptomatic testing at school. What we are going to do is if there's any students who come to the office and present to the nursing office and they present with COVID-19 symptoms and are sick, we would be dismissing them from school. We are going to have a supply of rapid antigen tests at both buildings, and we can provide them to families who would need them. In those cases, Parents can administer the COVID test at home, and if a child's negative, they can return to school. As long as if they have mild symptoms, they can return to school. If they have significant symptoms, then they can return per all of our other health policies once they've been fever-free and they've seen a reduction in symptoms. If they're positive, they have to follow the isolation and quarantine guidance. And that was also updated by the state. DESE is no longer issuing separate guidance. They're going with the DPH guidance for Mass Department of Public Health. And that guidance is that anybody who is exposed to COVID-19 and remains asymptomatic, so anybody who is a close contact is what we called it in the past, as long as they are asymptomatic, they are no longer required to quarantine and they can remain in school. DESE is recommending, our Department of Public Health is recommending those individuals mask for 10 days and test for COVID on day 6. And then anybody who tests positive for COVID has to isolate for 5 days and can return to school on day 6 if they've been fever-free for 24 hours and their symptoms are improving. It's recommended that those individuals mask for an additional 5 days while they are at school. Again, in June, the committee, in February, the committee voted to make masking optional, and it's a personal choice for students and staff members. So we expect that that will continue. Happy to answer any questions people have about the new Mass Department of Public Health guidelines or the testing program.
I don't have any questions.
I did want to say, I should have said, if schools are going to administer any testing on site, you're required to apply for what's called a CLIA waiver. I have applied for that waiver for both schools upon the recommendation of DESE. What that allows us, should we have an outbreak and want to change our policy and test staff or provide that service again, we would then not have to go through the waiver process. So we are not intending to do that, but we do have the waivers filed should circumstances change and the committee wish to reconsider that.
Okay.
Happy to take any questions on that.
I don't have any. Everybody happy?
No,
Okay.
All right, that's it. Then we're on to subcommittee updates.
So I don't think Jen will be presenting on the King Phillips Committee this evening. Did policy meet or do anything in the, okay, all right, so
Nope, no update there either.
we are flying through subcommittees. Fantastic. So new items, school partner renewal. We are looking to renew the school partnership with the Norfolk Lions Club, which I'm sure I have some paperwork about that I've absolutely, here we go. Okay, so the Norfolk Lions Club is a community-based organization, charitable organization, part of the Lions Club International. Let's see, they undertake to raise funds to be donated to local charities and Massachusetts Eye Research every year, and focuses on community service within the town of Norfolk. I think that the funds that are donated are used, as you can look in your packet and see, for any number of lovely things in the community, including with respect to the school's Camp Borndale scholarships, the DARE program, and then some other items as well, such as the Santa Foundation, the Haunted Car Crawl, Santa Day Parade, just basically all of the lovely things that make Norfolk. So they are seeking to renew their existing partnership with the school system. So we would, I don't know if Ingrid has anything to add, but we would be looking for a motion to renew the school partnership with the Norfolk Lions Club.
They've been school partners for a number of years and they support the schools in many different ways. So they meet our criteria.
So looking for a motion, and then we can certainly discuss further once that's on the table. I can't read the chat if somebody's chatting at me. Okay, all right.
So moved again, and just really impressed with all that they do for schools and the community.
Can you get a second?
Second.
Okay, wonderful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. I think one of the last action items we have is to renew one set of minutes from June 22nd of 2022. I'm assuming everybody's had some time to review those. And if so, could we get a motion to approve them?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, any further discussion or editorial
One
comments
quick
from
note, I
Shannon?
did go back to our other notes, and it was Sarah and you, Medora, for the building.
Oh, thank
I
you
just
so
want to
much.
make sure I wasn't losing it, and I volunteered for that. But it is Sarah
I
and
was
you.
like 95% confident it was Sarah.
Me too.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have the motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Our next school committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Is that is feasible for me? Is that workable for everybody else, at least who's in attendance this evening? Fantastic. So, we're going to have an executive session this evening, so I believe the proper protocol is we close this meeting and then go into executive, or
I think you have to read the motion.
I
and they
read
have
the
to-
motion to go into executive session and then it's over and then we don't come back, right? That's how, okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. Got it.
And they have to roll call, vote for
Okay.
that.
So, and it's fine if I make that motion? Okay, so, just making sure. I hereby move to go into executive session to comply with the provisions of the open meeting law and to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health of an individual and not to reconvene in open session. So we will need, I think I need a second.
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 All right, and then we will do a roll call vote. So Shannon Manessis. Aye. Lisa Sheldon.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously, so we will go into executive session and not reconvene. Thank you all. I'll bang my gavel.